Welcome back, everybody. Hello, John Aravosis here. Hey, guys. How we doing? YouTubers. Let me get TikTok rolling. I'm actually ready today. No delay in the show. Let's go. Live. All right, TikTok. Hang on here. TikTok's going to be fun again. We get lots of trolls. Today's going to be trollier than ever. Oh, my. Another bad day. We should be expecting more of these. Hey. Delay between your laptop and TV. No idea. Hello, YouTubers. Hello, TikTokers. Yeah, exactly. Lance Armstrong. Yeah. Oh, my. Hey, Ash. What a crazy day this has been. You may pick my show, Paula. Reach out on Discord, right? We've chatted on Discord, I think. Pretty sure. Yeah, of course we have. Yeah, just reach out on Discord. That's probably the easiest way. Yes, troll hunting is going to be busy on TikTok today, I think. Thank you, Jorge. Thank you, John. Crazy day. Thank you, Max. Crazy day in politics land. Hey, Larissa, thank you for the gift. Thank you, Marsha. Lots of gifts coming in. Woo. So, yes, another crazy day in politics land. Thank you, Derek. Thank you, Chezak. We've got some Ukraine news. Nothing very good, to be honest. Thank you, Carol. Thank you, Nicola. The U.S. news is even worse. Again, I hate to sort of be Debbie Downer, but Donald Trump is president. It ain't going to be good. Congressional hearings yesterday? What hearings did they have yesterday, DR Ryan? Didn't know they had any hearings yesterday. Thank you, Larissa. Thank you, Ryan. Thank you, Bad Gal. Laughing about it? Oh, yeah, I'm sure people are laughing. I mean, we're laughing a little bit ourselves. Early for the show? Nope. This is when we start. Remember, U.S. time changed like a week or two ago. So this is normal time, 6 o'clock Eastern time, U.S. Oh, on UFOs. Oh, is that the underwater UFO thing? Thank you, Marsha. Is that what you're talking about? I heard about it, that Lauren Boebert, one of the crazy right-wing MAGA people in Congress, was asking about underwater UFOs during a hearing yesterday. Although I will say the UFO thing fascinates me. So I'm not critical of people who believe in UFOs. I'm not critical at all of that. But she's a nut job, so I'm expecting. I have to read up. I did not read the story yet. Hey, Mario in Lithuania, welcome. Yeah, we're going to be talking about RFK Jr. Yeah. Maxwell Street Polish. I did not this time around. Thank you, Adventures. Anyway, I did just make a very nice Greek meal. I'm like actually a little full. It was a little heavy, but it was good. A TikTok recipe. Very simple, but very good. Thank you, Jen. Thank you, Darren. So how about that RFK? Yeah. So welcome, guys. I'm John Aravosis. This is the Aravosis Report. This is my nightly show. I do Monday to Friday, 6 o'clock Eastern. We often talk about the war in Ukraine, and we will. Second part of the show. First part of the show, we talk about U.S. politics lately. Don't really have a choice. Kenny, health secretary. Who's the health? Kennedy. We know that. That was a while ago. Yeah, we're talking about that first. That story broke a couple hours ago. So we'll talk about the meal in a bit. Remind me later, and I'll talk about my Greek meal I made today. So let's start with U.S. politics. So Donald Trump is still going to be president. Thank you, Russell. Thank you, Marsha. And America is quickly learning something that I and others said, which is if you vote for a crazy person as president, he's going to do crazy things. Donald Trump appointed, I don't want to say it's his craziest appointment yet, because he did appoint a pro-Putin woman to be his head of intelligence, which means our allies are understandably not going to want to share any intelligence with us under the Trump administration. He did appoint Matt Gaetz as the attorney general. I should say nominate, because, of course, Trump's not president yet, so we didn't appoint them. Thank you, Elizabeth. Matt Gaetz, the guy he appointed or chose, has been under investigation for child sex trafficking. Didn't get charged. Thank you, Heidi. But there is a really damning report reportedly from Congress that may get leaked in the next day about him and dealing with sexual allegations, including, again, minors. Thank you, Heidi. Drug use, all sorts of really wonderful things. But the big story today is Donald Trump picked anti-vaxxer nut job RFK Jr., Robert F. Kennedy Jr., as his Secretary of Health and Human Services. The anti-vax nut job, and he is going to be in charge of U.S. healthcare policy. He doesn't believe in vaccines. He's a nut job. RFK Jr. used to be a environmental lawyer. He was really good on the environmental stuff. Thank you, cool. Thank you, B. Smith. Really good on the environmental stuff. Then, and I don't quite know when he started to go crazy. Like some people do. Honestly, this is something I've seen. I mean, look at Giuliani too, right? Some people, as they get older, they just like go off into tangents of extremism. And I don't quite know why. RFK Jr. is one of them. He started as a very respected environmental lawyer and now is an anti-vaxxer supreme. He not travels, what's what I'm looking for. He peddles conspiracy theories. He said last summer that, a summer ago, actually, a year and a half ago, that there are no vaccines proven safe and effective. Literally said it. Then, and he's a liar too. He then goes on CNN a couple months ago. I watched the CNN segment. I think I put it on TikTok at one point. Thank you, Marsha. Thank you, Parda. Goes on CNN and the host says, you said that there's no vaccines that are safe and effective. And he goes, that's not true. I never said that. Thank you, Colonel Mustard. She goes, and she immediately interrupts him and goes, play the tape. And she plays a minute-long tape of this guy being interviewed. Thank you, Alex. To make sure that he can't claim it's out of context. A minute-long tape of this guy saying there are no vaccines that are safe and effective. Thank you, KT. His organization claims that polio isn't real. Polio doesn't exist. It's not caused by the polio virus. Sure, it's a disease, but it's not caused by the polio virus. It's caused by toxins, he claims falsely. He claimed falsely that the polio virus, that the polio vaccine doesn't work. Again, total lie. Proven by, the polio vaccine's been around since the 1950s. It is probably the most successful vaccine in the history of the world. COVID was pretty damn successful too. Thank you, Marsha. This man is a conspiracy nut job. I have told you guys about him repeatedly throughout the Trump campaign and over the years. Trump just picked him to be chairman of all healthcare policy in America. This is why a lot of us have been saying, thank you, Martin, that Donald Trump is dangerous. And if you pick somebody who's dangerous, unqualified, unfit, who is a bad human being, who doesn't care about you and doesn't care about your health and safety as president, he is going to do dangerous, unfit things to you. He's now picking the man who, by the way, one of the things that RFK Jr. wants to do, he wants to stop all, I'm going to get the exact phrase here. Hold on. Where is the exact phrase? He wanted to stop the release of all new vaccines for the next 8 years. All new drugs and vaccines. Just stop them. No new drugs, no new vaccines for the next 8 years. Okay? If RFK Jr. were in charge, we wouldn't have a COVID vaccine. Millions of lives would not have been saved from COVID because we wouldn't have a vaccine if RFK Jr. was in charge. This is so dangerous. It is so irresponsible. I hate to say I told you so, but I'm happy to say I told you so at the same time, because a lot of us said Donald Trump was a fascist and he was dangerous because, by the way, this isn't rocket science. The man was president for 4 years. We saw what he did under COVID. He ignored COVID, right? Totally ignored COVID, lied about it. Lots of Americans died. And then once a COVID vaccine was created, what did Trump's movement do? Trump's movement convinced everybody, again, a lie, that the COVID vaccine didn't work and wasn't effective. So Trump's own movement tried to convince people not to take the vaccine that Trump takes credit for creating. And I told you, this is what happens when you elect somebody who is an idiot president. They do idiotic things. Except in this case, it's not just idiotic, it's dangerous as hell. This man is dangerous. Trump is, but RFK Jr., it is. But again, the problem is Donald Trump. Donald Trump doesn't care about anything other than Donald Trump and his daughter Ivanka. But that's it. Those are the only two things he cares about, right? Trump doesn't care about the American people. He doesn't care about America. He doesn't care about American security. He doesn't care about American lives. He doesn't care about anything. So what does he care? RFK Jr. comes in and basically pulls a lot of vaccines, right? Gets a lot of children killed because mumps, measles, rubella, what Zentayo just said, flu, pneumonia, polio. Trump doesn't care. And a lot of Americans don't seem to care either because they voted for him. Again, the thing that really gets me is Trump was president for 4 years. Thank you, Heidi. Like we didn't know he was going to pick crazy people. He's been saying all these months, RFK Jr., he was going to put him in charge of health policy, right? And everyone said, oh no, Trump's not going to be, you're exaggerating, right? Trump's not going to be bad. Trump's doing exactly what he promised. That is true. Ivanka's been in hiding. Yeah, Ivanka Trump, his daughter, I think, thinks that if she just hides a little while longer, no one's going to blame her. Thank you, Marcia, for her enabling of her father. She literally worked for him in the first administration, and now she's going to pretend like she doesn't have a role in all of this. Really, really unbelievable here. Anyway, so let's talk a little bit more about Matt Gaetz. Thank you, Doughboy. Keep the gifts coming, guys. By the way, I do this for a living. I do it full time. So your gifts help pay the bills. So please keep them coming. So Matt Gaetz is the guy who's been under investigation for child sex trafficking, among other things, was not charged by the Justice Department, but then was under investigation for similar charges and similar allegations by the U.S. Congress. Tomorrow, this is actually an interesting story. Thank you, Tattooed Mom. Thank you, Succeed. It's worth reminding you all. Matt Gaetz, who's the guy, he's a MAGA guy. He's crazy. He's literally one of the two like crazy MAGA people in Congress. Marjorie Taylor Greene is one. He's the other. He's like her male counterpart. Thank you, K9. Marjorie Taylor Greene, thank you, Succeed, is the one who claimed, thank you, Crazy American, thank you, Terry, is the one who claimed that Jewish space lasers are starting forest fires. The Jews control space lasers. Her crazy bullshit conspiracy stuff, right? Gaetz is less conspiratorial. I shouldn't say that. He's very conspiratorial as well. He's very conspiratorial. Thank you, Kari. Thank you, Shorty. But he is also just a MAGA crazy. And Trump just made him attorney general in charge of all our laws, even though he's been under investigation for child sex trafficking. Tomorrow, the House Ethics Committee, was going to vote tomorrow, and they were going to release, we expect, the report on Matt Gaetz's sex offenses, alleged sex offenses. By Trump appointing him as Attorney General, Gaetz then resigned Congress last night and said, oh, I'm going to go join Trump's administration. I'm resigning Congress. And in the hopes that the Ethics Committee wouldn't be able to release the, thank you, Diane. Syndicate, I was just reading your comment. It took me a second. I was like, what? Thank you, Sherry. He's hoping the Ethics Committee won't be able to release the report on Matt Gaetz, Trump's Attorney General nominee, who's got these sex allegations against him, sex trafficking, et cetera. Because if he's not a member of Congress, they don't have jurisdiction to release the report, except that it's been done before. And there's already some leaks going on of the report. Thank you, Christina. So we're already hearing news. The lawyer already went public and said that there were other witnesses from the high school of the girl that he allegedly slept with. There's, where else here? The woman at the center of the Department of Justice's probe of Representative Matt Gaetz testified to the House Ethics Committee that he had sex with her when she was just 17 years old. This was some of the leak of the report today. This is the guy that Trump wants to be Attorney General. The committee has also obtained a sworn written statement by Gaetz's ex-girlfriend, where she lists the Florida congressman as one of the attendees at a party in July of 2017, where drugs were present and which was attended by the woman who Gaetz allegedly had sex with when she was a minor. This is the guy. How old is he now? Alexa, how old is Matt Gaetz?
Matt Gaetz is 42 years old.
He's 42. So he was at his youngest 32. He was in his 30s and slept with a 17-year-old girl who was underage, according to the allegations. And Trump is trying to bury it. Gaetz is trying to bury it. And he wants to be Attorney General of the United States. Thank you, Jetta. Again, this is not a surprise. We told everybody for months, Donald Trump is a convicted felon. Donald Trump has no moral character, right? Donald Trump is going to be amoral as president. And what does Trump do as a convicted felon elected to president for the first time? We've never had a convicted felon before as president. He picks a man who is alleged to have had, child sex, not just sex with an underage child, but sex trafficking, where they like paid these girls to, to have sex with adults and stuff, underage girls. I mean, it's a horrible story. Pick the guy as our top law enforcement official. What do you do? What do you do? All right, let's move on here. Interesting little bit of election news too. I was reading this today. Kamala Harris lost all 7 swing states. Those are the most important states that both she and Trump needed. Moving on to the election. But in 5 of the swing states, Georgia, Michigan, Nevada, North Carolina, and Wisconsin, Harris ended up with more raw votes than Biden got in 2020. What they're saying is it's very interesting because Harris was able to increase turnout over Biden, but Trump was able to increase it even more. And again, I don't know what this tells us about how to avoid this loss, next time, but it was just sort of interesting. It's just sort of interesting. So The Onion. So this was kind of a funny story today. I'm sure our trolls are going to love this one. The Onion is an American satirical magazine. I used to read it in college back in the 1980s when I was in college. They had a hard paper copy of The Onion, and like once a year or twice a year it would come out. It was very funny. They're very good humorists, and they've been writing stories forever on the internet, etc. Well, The Onion just bought, thank you, Xenia. The Onion just bought Infowars. Alex Jones. It's funny, like anybody who knows the story knows what I'm talking about. If you don't, I'll try to explain this briefly. Alex Jones is one of the top American conspiracy theorists who has a lot of young male fans. Jones got into a lot of trouble, got sued, and lost $1.5 billion with a B settlement against him because he alleged that one of the school shootings, you know how we have school shootings like every month in America practically? There was one many years ago, maybe 10, 12 years ago, Sandy Hook, Connecticut. Horrific. This was a particularly horrific shooting. A man goes in with a gun into a school, a grade school, young children, and shoots and kills 20 5- and 6-year-old children. 5- and 6-year-old children, 20 of them murdered by this guy with a gun, okay? Of course, America, does nothing afterwards because the Republican Party is owned by the gun lobby. Some Democrats are too, but mostly it's Republicans. America does nothing in response, big surprise. And Alex Jones, this horrible human being, this Republican conspiracy theorist, claims, of course falsely because it's bullshit, that the mass shooting of these poor children never even happened. Claims that it was a fake, what do you call it, a false flag claim. Thank you, Rocket Surgery. He falsely claimed that the U.S. government was behind the shooting and faked it, and the children didn't really die. These parents, understandably, thank you, Rocket Surgery, these poor parents who lost, 20 children who were only 5 and 6 years old were murdered, okay? Horrific. This was, even for America where this stuff happens all the time, this is particularly, because as I said, nothing happened in response, of course, because the Republicans made sure that we did nothing to address the problem. But nonetheless, even for America, this was pretty bad. Alex Jones claimed it was fake. The family sued him for defamation, and they won $1.5 billion with a B. They went after his assets. The judge ordered that he had to sell his assets, including this website, TV show, internet TV show, everything he had called Infowars. And it was sold, and it was bought by The Onion, which is the satirical magazine here in the States. Just bought it. They're going to relaunch it again in a year. It's, of course, not going to be Alex Jones, but it's kind of a funny story. It's funny in the sense that Alex Jones is getting destroyed, which is good. And of all things, a comedy website, a political satire website now owns his entire business, which is pretty funny. They bought it because they're planning a syndicate because they're planning on doing some big stuff with it, working with the anti-gun lobby. They're going to relaunch it in a year. There's going to be one sponsor of the website when they relaunch. The sponsor will be Everytown, which is one of the top sort of I'll say anti-gun, whatever you want, anti-gun violence groups in the U.S., and they're going to be the big sponsor of it. So that's why they bought it, because they're basically going to use it to, well, let's see what they're going to use it for. But they're going to use it for good, which is great. Anyway, so that's it for the political news. We'll talk about Ukraine, and then we'll move on. Like I said, the big news today is that Donald Trump just picked America's largest anti-vaxxer, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who is a nut job, anti-vaccine nut job, to be America's top health official. And people are going to die as a result. This guy wants no more vaccines approved for the next 8 years. He has called for no more drugs to be approved, prescription drugs, over the next 8 years. Imagine no more drugs and no more vaccines, guys. Imagine if this guy had been around during COVID, if Trump had him on staff then. No COVID vaccine. I mean, the number of lives saved by the COVID vaccine, right? Yeah. No, this is what you get. This is Donald Trump. And again, I'm going to repeat it again. People like me have been warning for months. Not months, years, right? We know Donald Trump. We know what Donald Trump is. We know what a loser he is. He's a liar. He's un-American. He's anti-American. He's fascist. He's a conspiracy nut. Doesn't care about people, right? During COVID, Trump admitted privately to a journalist who then published a book about it that he was lying about COVID. Trump went public and pretended like COVID was no big deal when people were dying. He gave away our equipment we needed for hospitals to Vladimir Putin when we needed it most. Then we get a vaccine created, and what does Trump do? Trump vacillates about the vaccine. Remember, they kept asking him if he was getting boosters, and he was like, didn't want to say, because all of Trump's political movement convinced people the vaccine wasn't safe and wasn't effective. Of course it was safe. Of course it was effective, right? But Trump's own people, and Trump did nothing about it, Trump's own people, his MAGA people, convinced everybody not to take the vaccine. I just saw one of the losers here on TikTok right now lying and saying, the vaccine doesn't work. Of course, the vaccine, we know the vaccine works. Obviously, the vaccine works. The vaccine saved millions of lives. It's a fact. But we voted for an idiot for president, and now he's doing dangerous, idiotic things. What a surprise. What a surprise. All right, let's move on to Ukraine. Day 993 of Vladimir Putin's special 3-day military operation in Ukraine. Washington Post had a big story today on European allies are warming to the idea of land for peace. Thank you, Betsy, for the gift. Basically, they're not there yet entirely, but the Europeans are starting to accept more and more that it looks like Ukraine will have to give up some land for peace with Russia, which is really kind of disgusting. Institute for the Study of War, which is a very good defense think tank here in Washington, D.C., talking about a peace deal, said that what do they say? There's indications that the Kremlin is now attempting to dictate the terms of any potential peace negotiations with Ukraine in advance of Trump's inauguration. Quote, the manner in which the Kremlin is trying to set its terms for negotiations strongly signals that Russia's objectives remain unchanged and still amount to full Ukrainian capitulation, they said. The Kremlin does not appear any more willing to make concessions to the incoming Trump administration than it was to the current administration. What will be interesting about this will be Trump has claimed Trump is a pathological liar, so let's see. And Trump also has the very strange obeisance where he's obedient to Vladimir Putin. We don't know why, right? But for some reason, Trump is obedient to Vladimir Putin, puts Putin's interest first. Putin has now made clear that the Russians are not going to change their position. They want all of Ukraine. They want all the land that they've stolen from Ukraine, and they're not going to negotiate for anything, that they want Ukraine to just capitulate, to give up. Trump has claimed that if the Russians do that, he's going to increase aid to Ukraine. Let's see if Donald Trump is a liar, and we know he's a liar, or let's see if Trump actually turns around now and increases aid to Ukraine, because the Russians have already said they don't care if Trump wants peace. They're going to do more, right? They're going to keep going. So it should be very interesting to see what happens with that. Thank you, Christina, for the gift. Keep the gifts coming, guys. Sky News, a Russian assault group briefly broke through the outskirts of the city of Kupiansk for the first time in Ukraine since Moscow's forces fled in September 2022. The admission from Ukrainian officials is a sign of mounting pressure on the outpost. Ukraine's general staff said Moscow's forces, including soldiers disguised as Ukrainian troops, attacked in 4 waves yesterday, but were repelled from the city. Interesting as well, and this is also Putin responding to Trump. Remember, Trump talked to Putin last week, it was reported. And he warned the Russians, which was interesting for Trump because Trump tends to suck up to the Russians. He doesn't warn the Russians. But Trump warned Putin and said, you better not accelerate the war, right? Just because you think I'm coming into power. So what did Putin do? He accelerated the war. Thank you, Cheryl. The Russians increased the intensity of their long-range drone attacks on Ukraine by 44% in the week after Trump was elected president, according to an analysis by ABC News. Elon Musk causing more trouble. Big surprise here. Thank you, Marsha and Cheryl, again for the gifts on TikTok. Elon Musk, who thinks he's co-president with Donald Trump, met today with the Iranian ambassador to the United Nations. This is a little weird. Elon is not a diplomat. Thank you, Addie. Trump clearly put him up to this. I don't think Elon's an idiot, but I don't think Elon would do this on his own. Met with the Iranian ambassador to the UN on Monday in New York, in a session that 2 Iranian officials described as a discussion of how to diffuse tensions with the U.S. The Iranians said the meeting between Musk and the Iranian ambassador lasted more than an hour, was held at a secret location. The Iranians described the meeting as positive and good news. Now, it's not necessarily a bad thing talking to the Iranians, but Elon Musk shouldn't be the one doing it. Thank you, Tarad. Thank you, KT. Couple problems here. Elon Musk has 0 experience with diplomacy. Elon Musk has 0 experience with foreign policy. He doesn't know about Iran. He doesn't know about the Iran nuclear deal. He doesn't know about anything, right? About Iran's support for terrorism, Iran's support for attacking American troops in Middle East. Elon doesn't know any of this shit. He shouldn't be talking to the Iranians. But again, this is Donald Trump. Thank you. I'm a user for the gift. This is Donald Trump, right? Pick someone who's entirely unqualified, who doesn't know what he's doing. He's not a diplomat. He doesn't know Iran, doesn't know the issues. He's also, frankly, Elon Musk is, what's the word I'm looking for here? Thank you, Marsha. Thank you, John. Elon Musk's kind of damaged, right? There's something wrong with Elon Musk. He's not normal. It's like he's got psychological problems or something, right? He's clearly not a normal guy. Thank you, Charles. Elon, for example, is always posting disgusting tweets about women, really degrading sexual tweets about women, for example, on Twitter. There's something wrong with him. And that is not the guy you choose. Somebody who has a screwed up interpersonal relationship with other human beings. You don't pick him to be the interlocutor, to be the human being you have negotiate with the Iranians, right? With one of your enemies. I mean, that's just, again, this is what happens when you elect an idiot president, right? We elected someone who's unqualified for the job, who's reckless, and he does something entirely reckless by having Elon talk to the Iranians, because that's Donald Trump. There was a story today that caught a lot of people by surprise. It was really weird. And all the experts are now saying it's total bullshit. But I'm going to mention it just because you might hear about it. The Times of London does a story today claiming Ukraine can build a nuclear bomb in 3 months. No, they can't. The experts say, no, they can't. The Ukrainians cannot build a nuclear bomb in 3 months. Sky News interviewed a number of the experts. And for example, one of them, Pavel Podvig, an expert on Russian nuclear forces and international arms control, said the story is totally bonkers. Apparently, the argument is that Ukraine has 7 tons of plutonium that it can use to build hundreds of weapons. All this plutonium, however, is in spent fuel. To get it out, one needs a reprocessing facility, which Ukraine doesn't have. He also pointed to a number of technical factors that Ukraine would not be able to build a bomb. Just mentioning it because, again, this crazy story is out there, and it's good for people to know the truth. Honestly, I wish Ukraine was able to build a bomb, to be honest, because they would be, Ukraine, had they not given up their nuclear weapons, wouldn't have been attacked by Russia, I think. Thank you, Randy. But claiming falsely now that Ukraine has the ability to build a nuclear bomb is bullshit. In any case, last bit of news today is, this was interesting, actually. So the Kiel Institute, European it's a German think tank. That's what I thought. It's a German think tank looked at German support for Ukraine and did an analysis on the German economy. Thank you, Randy, of what it would cost the Germans if Ukraine loses the war. Right? Thank you, Randy, again, for all the gifts. Listen to this. The Kiel Institute for the World Economy, a German think tank, attempted to estimate the economic cost to Germany of not effectively supporting Ukraine and allowing a Russian victory in Ukraine. Their estimate was between 1% to 2% of German gross domestic product annually, meaning it's going to cost the German economy 1 to 2% a year, which is a huge factor, or 10 to 20 times higher than the current levels of military support is what it's going to cost the Germans if Ukraine loses. Quote, a Russian victory in Ukraine, according to Kiel, would lead to substantially higher costs for Germany via 1, increased military spending, 2, additional refugees, and 3, the loss of trade and investment with Ukraine. Thank you, Randy, Fred. All right, that is it for the news. Remember, we've got a lot of auction items coming up. Our auctions, I've been doing auctions for years now to benefit Ukraine. Half of the auction benefits me because I do this full time and I do it for free. So please keep the gifts coming. If you don't like the trolls, then support my work. But we've got new auction items, lots of cool stuff. Like I said, over in our Discord community, the auctions end on Monday. I've got cool stuff like this Christmas ornament from the White House. The White House Historical Association made a Jackie Kennedy Christmas ornament that I think is just absolutely fabulous. I've got a Ukrainian, well, it's a cigarette case, but I would use it as like a wallet or something else. Somebody else had an idea for what to use it as, but this is very cool. Thank you, Kerrigan, for the gifts. Thank you, Shannon, or Carrie Riggin, I should say, because it is a Russian warship Go F Yourself cigarette case. Has the famous, in Ukrainian, Ruski Vani, Koral, Litsi Nahui, Russian warship Go F Yourself case, which is sort of a very well-known saying from Ukraine when the Russians tried to get Ukrainian troops to surrender. They said, a business card holder. There you go. Thank you, Martin and Jean. Business card holder, exactly. And the Russian ship told the Ukrainian troops, Ukrainian troops, surrender, and this is a Russian warship. And the Ukrainians responded, Russian warship, go F yourself, in Ukrainian, which is very good. A couple other things. We've got a cool Ukrainian trivet. This is juniper, Vlad says. It is typical Ukrainian handicraft. Smells like nice wood. Basically, it's for putting, hot food on. Made in Ukraine. They're very cool. Again, Vlad said it's a very typical Ukrainian woodworking. We've got jewelry. I've got a cool set of earrings that Carrie made. Carrie is one of our wonderful members of our community who makes jewelry in Texas. Her Made in Texas Ventures, I think she calls it. But these are some earrings she made in Ukrainian style, Ukrainian design, and donated them for the auction. So go check those out. These are all auctions in our Discord community to benefit me and to benefit Ukraine both. A couple more things. Oh, this is true. I've got a Russian military helmet from Ukraine. How's that for cool? Russian military helmet for Ukraine, damaged. From Ukraine, used. That is very cool. I think Jens may have been on this one. I'm trying to remember. But that's a very cool gift. All of these things I will ship internationally, but you pay shipping. You'll pay shipping costs from the U.S., so just be aware of that. And I think actually the last thing I'll show you, I've also got a piece of a Ukrainian fighter jet. That's very cool. Oh, hold on, I'm dropping things here. Piece of a Ukrainian fighter jet. Very cool. That was shot down over Ukraine. And finally, we've got a T-shirt, one of its kind T-shirt. And this is very cool. This is a T-shirt my friend Vlad made. We've been raising money to make camouflage nets for the Ukrainian military in Ukraine. And that's really funny on YouTube. It's thinking I'm doing a thumbs down. And Vlad made T-shirts for the volunteers that are making the camouflage nets for the military. Well, this is a T-shirt he made, 67 of them he made. For the volunteers, it says Harkovu Mir at the top, which means Kharkiv peace. It shows a HIMARS, which is, of course, the American attack vehicle that fires missiles at the Russians. It's a HIMARS, has a camouflage net on top, and then below it says Moskovalna Sotnya, which means like the masking 100, which is a nickname they gave, basically the camouflage 100. Anyway, it's an extra, extra large, one of its kind shirt. There's only like 67 of them in existence. And this is the last one I've got. Extra, extra large. It is a real extra, extra large. I tried it on. The shirts seem to fit. These shirts seem to fit accurately, at least by American sizes. So it seems to be a true extra, extra large. So go check that out. You can check out all of our auctions. Sereshki, that's what they're called, Dan? Sereshki. But go check them all out on Discord community. You can find our Discord community via YouTube. Go to the description of today's show, click the link. And you guys on TikTok, go to my profile, click the Linktree link. And the first thing that comes up is Discord. If you're on a computer, you can just click the Discord link and it'll take you there. If you're on a phone, you want to push and hold down the link, because phones let you do that. And while you're holding it down, this thing should pop up that says accept invite, and click to accept it, and you will be in our Discord community. So go there and check them out, guys. The auction's end on Monday. Actually, we'll do Q&A now. Thank you for the gifts, by the way, Mrs. Toad and Patty and Shannon. But I forget to mention that on Saturday is our next coffee talk. So Saturday will be our next hangout that I do with the paid monthly subscribers. So paid monthly subscribers on TikTok, everybody with SNN next to your name, paid monthly subscribers on Discord, on YouTube, with the green named people. Thank you, Christina. Discord, anybody on Discord, Ko-fi, those services can go to Discord and watch, but it'll be 11 a.m. Saturday morning. And I hold a show. Thank you, Addie. I hold a show just for the folks who are paid, who are the monthly subscribers, as a thank you. And it's a much smaller show. Vlad often joins us from Ukraine. So it's pretty cool. Pretty cool. Anyway, so thank you, Valerie, for the gift. So let's talk, guys. Let's hang out and talk. What do you want to talk about? Thank you, Valerie, again. Thank you, Courtney. Thank you, High Tide. Appreciate that. So what else? We can talk Tulsi Gabbard. Yeah, so Tulsi Gabbard is Trump's pick to be intelligence chief at the White House. Hillary Clinton accused her of being basically a Russian agent. She is an apologist for Vladimir Putin. She's an apologist for Assad, the dictator of Syria. She blamed the U.S. and blamed NATO and blamed Ukraine for Russia's invasion. She cannot be trusted. And Trump has put her in charge of all of U.S. intelligence, which means our allies now are not going to trust giving the U.S. our intelligence, or their intelligence, which is really bad. So she's horrific. She may not get confirmed. Who knows? But Trump may appoint these people anyway. Actually, I'm forgetting about DNI. DNI may not. I keep forgetting whether DNI needs a confirmation. I've actually got to double check that one. I think she does, but I've got to double check. I think she needs confirmation. I'm forgetting now. Because some of the top jobs do not need it, but I think she needs it. She is a snowflake. Yes, like all MAGA people, she is a snowflake. Yep. They can attack others, but you call out the criticism like of her, of being frankly soft on, not just soft on Russia, but pro-Russia and pro-Syria. And then they crumble because they're snowflakes. You're right. She is a snowflake. WC question. I don't know what that means, Noah. Unless that means like a toilet question. What does WC mean in English? Don't know what that means. Anyway, I know the right. MAGA people are snowflakes, sadly. Yes, they are. Thank you, Eli. What else we got? Thank you, Ashley, for the gift. The other Ashley for the gift. And real life works as well. Oh, WC Fields had a question. Let me see here. Mexico economy chief suggests possible tariff retaliation against the U.S. Yeah, I didn't see the story, but big surprise. So Trump has threatened to put like 25% tariffs or more on the Chinese and the Mexicans. And what a surprise. They're threatening to do it back to us. Two problems here. One, tariffs are basically inflation. When you put tariffs on goods coming into the U.S., it literally means that the good gets imported here and Trump immediately makes the good cost 25% more. He imposes a tax on it. So when the good comes into the U.S., let's say it was something that cost $50. Trump's going to make it cost 25% more, so $12.50 more. Well, typically the business will pass that cost on to you as inflation. He's going to make products from Mexico and products from China go up in price significantly because that's what he's claiming he's going to do. The first problem is massive inflation. for everyone here, because he's going to literally increase the good of our price of our products. The second problem is, as folks at WC was just saying on YouTube, is trade wars. We are in an interconnected world. If Trump makes the price of Chinese imports and Mexican imports go up 25%, the Chinese and the Mexicans are going to do the same to us. We import a lot of stuff to Mexico, a lot. We also, or I should say, we export a lot of stuff to Mexico. We also export stuff to China, but Mexico especially. That hurts American businesses. If the price of our goods goes up, we have a harder time exporting them because people don't want to buy them, right? So Trump is threatening a trade war. Where basically one country puts tariffs on us, we put tariffs on them, and it goes back and forth, is one of the big things that led to the Great Depression. So congratulations, guys, all you Trump supporters. Not only are you picking an anti-vaxxer as head of healthcare in America, not only are you picking a guy who's been under investigation for child sex trafficking as the head of the Department of Justice, right? But now this too, right? Great. You're gonna start a trade war and massively increase prices 25%. Whee! Congratulations. Congratulations, Trump supporters. You're so good. You're so good. Anyway. Vincente says, do you think Trump will simply impose the tariffs or use them as blackmail against businesses and or countries with smaller economies? Trump will certainly blackmail. He's a liar. Look, Trump's a pathological liar. So just because, I will say this, just because Trump says he's going to do it doesn't mean he's going to do it. Trump lies about everything. He also changes his mind because he's an immature child and he's not very intelligent. So he changes his mind like that. Trump picked Matt Gaetz, the guy under investigation for child sex trafficking, or who was under investigation, as his attorney general nominee on Monday. The press report said that Trump couldn't find anybody he liked. So all of a sudden he picked Matt Gaetz. He did the same thing with the Fox News guy. He picked a Fox News host as his defense secretary because he couldn't find anybody else he liked. And he looked at the TV and said, I like him. So this is the kind of bullshit Trump does, But again, we knew what we were getting. We were getting a very bad man who's not very smart and makes poor decisions. And what a surprise. He's not very smart and making poor decisions. So thank you, NAR. What do you do? But yeah, so he's going to threaten, but I think he's also going to do it. He did it to the Chinese before. He'll do it to the Mexicans. He'll do it. And the Mexicans will retaliate and prices will go up. And then, well, maybe Americans will understand. Maybe. Thank you, Lawrence. Thank you, Iggy. Marty has a question. Thank you for the super chat question, Marty. For non-Americans, Canadians, if Trump picks someone from the Senate or Congress, are there new elections for that seat? Yeah, sometimes. It depends on the state. Sometimes there's a new election. Sometimes the governor picks the person to take the seat. And if that happens, often the person, the replacement will get the seat until the next election. So it would be, actually, it's very confusing. It would be like until the next election, and then they might, it's confusing. So the easy answer is it depends on the state, but somebody will replace them. Either the governor will choose who it is, or there will be a special election, usually within 60 days or something like that. Yeah. But it depends on each state. So you always go and look to state law with each one. Ohio governor picked J.D. Vance's replacement. Okay. And well, the only question there though is, thank you, Dustin, for sharing the live. The only question there is, he picked the replacement, but how long does the replacement stay in power before there has to be an election? Because typically they are often in power just until the next election. Or until the seat would have normally been up. So it might be maybe 4 years until that seat is up. Again, it depends on the state. Okay, Director of National Intelligence does have to be confirmed by the Senate. That's good, although Trump will probably find a way around it, but that's good at least. Okay, special election. All right. Okay. Oh, so there will be a special election in Florida. Okay. What a mess, though, The Mexican president's going to start deporting Americans out of Mexico. Well, I don't blame them, though. The way we're treating them, they should treat us the same. Why not? I mean, it's horrible. Anyway, thank you, Naisha. Good to see you again. I have not moved to Blue Sky. I use Blue Sky as well. I'm staying on Twitter for now, even though, again, there's really no choice. Twitter is what's the word I'm looking for? When they control, I mean, they're a monopoly, but they control so much of the market that there's really not much of a choice, really. But we'll see. Having said that, I wouldn't mind if Twitter just died. If the company goes bankrupt, I would not mind. Passive Biden is being, depends on what, right? I'm not convinced by what is Biden doing that you know what I mean? Like, I'm not convinced Biden's being any more passive than he was anyway. So I'm not convinced. I mean, I think Biden's pretty passive in many bad ways anyway, but, Syndicate says they decided not to visit the U.S. for now. I don't blame you. I wouldn't come here either. Certainly wouldn't come here with a child. First of all, it's a pretty dangerous country to start with, but now forget it. Yeah, I wouldn't come here. Is Twitter a better outlet for free speech than real life? No, real life's pretty good in America, at least so far. No, I don't think that's true. And Twitter is also full of bullshit. Twitter is now so much full of disinformation and hate. Hopefully you get less of that in real life. Hopefully. So what else, guys? Oh, I'm yawning again today. Sorry, you know me. Every day I'm a little tired. That's right. DeSantis will appoint a replacement for Rubio too. Okay. Oh, interesting. He's appointing a replacement for Rubio. That's interesting. But holding an election for Gaetz's seat. That's interesting. Oh, hey, Croatian memes. How are you? What can we do? I'm not sure what we can do, guys. I am not sick. I just happen to lose weight because sometimes healthy people lose weight. And it's good because I'm now a perfect weight, which I've wanted to be for years. So thank you, Annie. But yeah, I lost some weight when I was in Chicago, which I'm very happy. Family in Spain is horrified. I don't blame them. I'm pretty horrified too. Actually, I'm yawning now. JD says, if Trump pulls the plug on Ukraine, what do I think of Europe's chances of fighting Russia alone? Well, it depends. It depends. The problem is the U.S. has so many weapons, so many more weapons than the Europeans have, that the Europeans can't really fill the gap. They just don't have the equipment we've got, right? That's a big part of the problem. So I don't know. Having said that, you've also got the Germans. They're still pulling punches. The Germans don't want to give the Ukrainians cruise missiles. They don't want to let the Ukrainians use the weapons to hit deep inside Russia, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So you're using Twitter as a place to vent your sports frustrations. Yeah, trust me, I'm tempted to leave Twitter. It's a little harder because I've got 100,000 followers. So it's a little harder for me to leave Twitter entirely because it still does have an impact. But I wouldn't have a problem if it were to just go bankrupt. I'd be pretty happy, I think, So what else? The Polish are rapidly rearming and building their defense industries. They should. The Poles should. If I were European, I'd be pretty worried about what's happening next with the Russians. So yeah. You follow me on Twitter and never go on it. That's funny. Yeah. Well, they banned TikTok. Trump is now a supporter of TikTok after he met with a billionaire supporter. Don't you remember the story? So Trump tried to ban TikTok multiple times. He then met with a billionaire. And after meeting with the billionaire, Trump suddenly supported TikTok. You go figure out what happened in that meeting. Trump meeting with a billionaire and then suddenly changing his mind. Come on, we all know what happened, right? So, that's our boy. That's our boy. Anyway, could these appointments give us back control of the House? Yes. Trump is overstepping. The problem is, the next election isn't for 2 years, but it could potentially hand the House back to Democrats. Yes. But, That's 2 years from now. I mean, let's put it this way. Sorry, guys. The voters didn't really care. They knew Trump was an extremist. They witnessed him the first time. They voted for him anyway. So let's see. But yes, Democrats could win back the Congress, certainly the House, maybe even the Senate, if Republicans go too crazy. Thank you, Randy. Right. Well, the issue with other countries spending more on defense is, well, it's twofold. European countries already spend more. Europe is giving more to Ukraine than we are. Europe is giving twice as much aid to Ukraine than the U.S. is. The bigger issue is, or the issue where Trump has a point on, is many European countries are not spending enough on defense. NATO countries promised back in like 2003 to spend 2% of their gross domestic product on defense, basically meaning their defense budget would be equal to or greater than 2% of their economy. And something like only half the European countries are doing it. It was even worse before, but it is pretty bad. So that is an argument that Trump's been making that was actually a valid argument, that the Europeans are not spending enough on their own defense, but then they're relying on us to defend them. He's not wrong about that. But it depends who, because again, half of Europe is. The Poles are, others are, but yeah, Canada isn't at 2% either. Well, no, and I will say this: Trump has a point on this. We're the big defenders of NATO. If Europe gets invaded by Russia, they expect us to come and defend them. Well, part of the deal of being a member of NATO is you spend 2% on defense. If you don't spend 2% of your economy on defense, well, then you're not willing to defend your own country, but you want us to come defend you as part of NATO. Trump is correct. That's not fair on that account. And a lot of European countries weren't doing it, and half of them still aren't. And that's bullshit. It is bullshit. Which cabinet appointee scares me the most? I mean, I think the worst is yet to come. Thank you, Ashley, by the way. Thank you, Real Life Works, for the gifts. God, I mean, RFK Jr. is insane. He's a conspiracy nut. He's bad. Matt Gaetz, I mean, it's hard to say. Tulsi Gabbard as head of intelligence is incredibly dangerous. I would say she's equal to Matt Gaetz. She is incredibly dangerous to U.S. national security as the head of intelligence. Incredibly dangerous. Somebody who's pro-Russian, because who knows what she's going to do with our. She is going to see our most sensitive intelligence. I mean, the most classified information in the world. She's going to see, and she could give it to the Russians. That's very bad. Matt Gaetz is just as bad domestically. Trump wants to put someone whose only goal in life is to prosecute Trump's political enemies. And he wants to put that man as the top cop in America, right? As the top law enforcement officer. This man is going to basically turn our country into a banana republic. He's going to use the government to go after political enemies. It's not just illegal. It's like I said, it's something from the third world, Countries may stop sharing intelligence. They should stop sharing intelligence, Matt. They absolutely should. I mean, I've said this before. I mean, this is the problem with Trump. When Trump is president, countries should consider that the word of the American president means nothing. No promise that America's made will necessarily be kept if Trump is president. And B, that your secrets are not safe. And Trump already proved this. Trump gave away our secrets. Trump gave away nuclear secrets to some Australian businessmen he was bragging to. He gave away intelligence secrets to the Russians in the Oval Office. He actually gave away some of Israel's secrets that basically let the Russians know who one of the Israeli spies was by giving them this information. Trump stole classified information from the White House and then refused to return it. No country should consider themselves safe giving us classified information with Trump in the White House. We know that. And with Tulsi Gabbard as head of intelligence, it's going to be even worse. It's going to be even worse. So, yeah. The election wasn't stolen. None of our elections have been stolen. None of our elections were stolen, so not by either party. America doesn't have stolen elections, fortunately. Trump tried. I mean, he literally tried to violently overthrow the government on January 6th, 4 years ago. But, other than that, Mrs. Lincoln, right? What do I expect to happen in the next 2 years? I mean, the same thing that happened last time. He's going to do lots of extremist, crazy, racist bullshit. I mean, the problem is every day is going to be 10 new horrible things that Trump does. This is what happened last time, and people forgot about it. So, oh well, But again, this is what people want. They voted for a con artist who doesn't love our country, who's a fascist, who's not very bright, not very accomplished, and this is what Trump did last time. He did a terrible job as president. He got a lot of people killed during COVID. He turned his back on American national security, right? He called our troops suckers and losers. He sided with the Russians over America's own intelligence community. And now people are surprised that we elect him again and he's going to be un-American, dumb, dangerous to people's health. I mean, it's everything he did last time, right? So no, it's going to be horrible. And again, the people he's picking for these jobs is already proving it, right? Right? I mean, he just picked an anti-vaxxer. Trump just picked somebody who doesn't believe in vaccines to be the top American health official, RFK Jr., Robert F. Kennedy Jr. So, proof is in the pudding, guys. Oh, well. What do you do? That's right. He wanted to inject bleach. Remember that? Trump wanted to inject bleach. Can we inject disinfectant? He went like this. Remember? Can we inject disinfectant to cure COVID and maybe pour light into the body? Sorry, what was it? Hold on. What was it? Can we inject disinfectant and pour light into the body? I think we said we were going to try that, right? Remember he turned to that crazy woman, that crazy what's her face, who was defending him, but then made it look worse and worse, and said, I think you said we were going to try that. And she was and she looks at him and she's just going, I mean, unbelievable, unfreaking believable. Deborah, what was it? Yes, Deborah, was it Powell? What's her name? What was her last name? Was it Powell? I don't remember. I thought it was Deborah. I'm forgetting now. The blonde woman. Bricks. That's it, T-Dog. There you go. Bricks. Oh, yeah. Yep. Oh, yeah. Anyway, what else we got, guys? Oh, boy. What else we got? Oh, interesting. Gregory says out of 32 NATO countries, 23 now meet the 2% charge target, up from 6 in 2021. Oh, that is good. Okay, good. That's very good. 23 out of 32. So that's 66% pretty much. That's good. Thank you. Who is it? RTR. Thank you for the gift. So Dr. Bricks, exactly. Deborah Bricks. Yep. Vernon. That was her name. Anyway, it's bad. But RFK Jr., oh my God. I mean, there isn't a bigger nut job than this guy. Total anti-vaxxer. Wants to stop all new vaccines, wants to stop all new prescription drugs. Doesn't think kids should get vaccinated. Claimed there's no vaccine that's safe and effective. I mean, he's just complete freaking nut job. Complete whack job. Thank you, Vampy. What do you do? He can do that. Trump can. He can. Yeah, he can. They can do everything. They can do everything they want. I noticed we've still got the foreign trolls. What's interesting is a lot of the trolls we're getting on TikTok, you can tell they're not American, which is always suspicious to me, because if they're not American and they're getting involved in U.S. politics, to me that suggests potentially they're being hired by somebody. Thank you, Paula, for joining as a Patriot launcher. Do I believe in UFOs? Sure. I'm just not sure we've ever had a real one yet. But I think the more precise question would be, do I believe there's life out there in the universe? Of course. Do I believe there's intelligent life? Of course. Do I think they visited us? Hard to say. Actually, I was telling you guys this before, months ago, really interesting podcast I was listening to last Christmas. I'm forgetting, my nephew knows what it was, a very big science podcast. Thank you, Bryce. And two guys were discussing, whether life on other planets, but then, like I said, not just is there life on other planets, but could they have visited us? And that's a whole other problem, because, the universe is 13 billion years old or something like that. And you basically, for people to visit us or to communicate with us even, they would have to be, well, here's a couple different problems. To communicate or visit us, they'd have to be nearby, because otherwise it would take them more than a lifetime to visit us, right? And it would take the signal that long to get to us as well. So first, they'd have to be close enough by. The universe is enormous, right? So there's less of a chance that somebody nearby is intelligent like us. Second of all, they'd have to be intelligent like us at the same time in history as us, right? If 200 years ago, some intelligent life on another planet sent us a message, we wouldn't have gotten the message 200 years ago from our radios and stuff, right? From our satellites. We wouldn't have gotten it. So we would have to have a similar level of intelligence or whatever at the same time in history as them, a couple hundred years off. First of all, a couple hundred years off, and we imagine, right, the history of the universe is 13 billion years. Just 300 years ago, which is nothing in terms of the universe, 300 years ago in the 1700s, we wouldn't have been able to hear aliens try to call us. What if the signals we're sending into space right now are going to other worlds that are only 300 years behind us? So what if their civilization is like the 1700s, like Elizabethan England? Is their civilization abroad? They're not going to get our message either. So it's a really fascinating discussion on the whole, not just UFO, but on the whole issue of intelligent life out in the universe, because there's sort of so many things that have to line up in terms of this. Exactly. They could be millions of years behind or millions of years ahead. Thank you, John. Right? I mean, they could have visited us 10,000 years ago. That's nothing in the sort of expanse of, time in the universe, and we were nothing back then. So it's a really interesting. I find it's a fascinating topic. But again, I'm not completely convinced that any of the UFOs are real. But and my friend Garrett wrote the book on it. Garrett Graff wrote, I think he called it UFO, wrote a book recently on it. And Garrett's a very good journalist. Basically, he concluded that, I asked him about this, and he said, I concluded that there is a government conspiracy in the US to hide information about UFOs, but he also said there is no proof of UFOs. So he said, for some reason, the government has been trying to hide the information they've got, but the information they've got does not prove there are aliens, which I thought was a fascinating conclusion, right? So in other words, there has been a conspiracy to hide the information, and the information they have is really bad. It's really poor, right? I was thinking of the Fermi paradox, Luna. Yeah. I would have had to Google it to explain what it is, but that's right. Well, the Fermi paradox is a little bit different, right? The Fermi paradox, I believe, is we're dealing with aliens again, is the Fermi paradox is, if there's intelligent life, why haven't we heard? Right? I think that's the Fermi paradox, is it not? Yeah. Of course, right now, as Martin just said, they're staying the hell away from us right now. Correct. When we say UFO, we're saying non-human extraterrestrial intelligence. Yes. Well, extraterrestrial, I guess, would be non-human. Well, I don't care if it's human, actually. Could be human too. Just extraterrestrial, not Earthlings of intelligence. So, fascinating topic, though. Doug Collins, I don't remember who he is. Noah, Arthur Clarke, two possibilities exist. Either we are alone in the universe or we are not. Both are equally terrifying. That's funny. Low chances of life. I mean, it's pretty obvious there's life in the universe. It's just stupid to think, right? Either, again, if God created it, why did God just create it here? That's stupid. If God didn't create it in the entire universe, the conditions for life only happened on Earth? Bullshit. What's the number? The number is, I was asking you guys this before. The number is even bigger now. The number used to be that there are, I'm trying to think, I think it was 100 billion stars in our galaxy and 100 billion galaxies in the universe. Used to be the estimate. It's bigger now, I think, right? Somebody correct me here, because it's an amazing fact of just how many stars there are in our galaxy alone, right? Which is huge. It's something like, again, 100 billion. Alexa, how many stars are there in the Milky Way galaxy?
According to NASA, scientists estimate the Milky Way galaxy has anywhere between 100 billion to 400 billion
Okay.
stars.
Okay.
Some of those
Alexa,
stars are
stop. So the Milky Way galaxy has between 100 billion and 400 billion stars. Our galaxy alone, okay? Our galaxy, the spinning one, 100 billion with a B to 400 billion stars, like the sun. 100 billion suns to 400 billion, okay? With that many, is it possible one of those suns has got a planet that was just right, like Earth, where life could come? Sure, right? Now the question becomes, Alexa, how many galaxies are there in the universe? My Alexa gets dumb sometimes. Alexa, how many galaxies are there in the universe?
According to astronomers at the University of Nottingham, the number of galaxies in the observable universe is about 2 trillion.
Oh, it's 2 trillion now. Okay, so now we're up to 2,000 billion. 2,000 billion is the number of galaxies in the, by the way, she said the observable universe. Exactly, you loud picked it up too. She said in the observable universe. In the universe we can see, it's about 2 trillion galaxies. I mean, guys, so each galaxy has 100 billion stars at least. Okay, billion with a B, each galaxy. So 100 billion suns in each galaxy, and there may be 2,000 billion galaxies. And we think we're the only planet that was just situated perfectly around our sun to be in what's called the Goldilocks zone. They call it the Goldilocks zone in science because it's like Goldilocks, right? Which is the story of the girl with the 3 bears. And thank you. Who's that? Thank you, Starfall. Appreciate that. Very nice gift. The Goldilocks is that basically she was eating the porridge, and one was too hot and one was too cold and one was just right. And the Goldilocks zone is considered a planet being just in the right position, not too far from a sun and not too close to a sun, so that the temperature on the planet is just right, right? Too far away, it'll be too cold. Too close to the sun, it's too hot. Where Earth is, our temperature is just right for life. Thank you, Colin, for the gift. So, with 100 billion stars in our galaxy and 2,000 billion galaxies, as Carl Sagan would say, billion, the idea that we're the only planet to be just in the right place for life to survive, come on, yeah, it's amazing. Right, there's water and other stuff too, of course. Yep. But no, there's clearly other life out there. There's clearly other intelligent life, but the universe is so big. Thank you, Sarah. That And the other problem is, by the way, what if the other life we encounter is the Nazis, right? I mean, just because we meet other beings from other planets doesn't mean they're going to be nice. What if they're the Russians? Thank you, Elizabeth. Right? I mean, thank you, Cloud, for the rose. Anyway, they think Mars used to be in the Goldilocks zone. Oh, that's interesting. I forgot about that. The Onion did an article complaining Earth was in the most boring part of the universe. It is true, though, Connor. Thank you for the gift there, Drefton. It is true, though. Right, there's no life around us. We're alone. Astronomy would have been yet another fun field I should have gone into, as astronomy. Oh well. I know our oceans could support alien life. That's true. What's the one that we think? Is it octopus that we think is pretty freaking weird? I think it's octopus. Isn't that the one? Although, frankly, there's a lot of weird life in the ocean, to be honest. But octopus is one of the ones that people are particularly weird. Octopus. Yep. One day Earth won't exist, but it's 5 billion years from now or something, I think. Alexa, how long until the sun consumes the Earth?
According to an Alexa Answers contributor, in 4 to 5 billion years.
Okay. 4 to 5 billion years, we're okay. In 4 to 5 billion years, the sun will devour the Earth. It'll get so big, it won't literally devour it. It'll get so big that it'll burn up the Earth. Now, that doesn't mean we're not, going to die before that, because the it could basically make life unlivable on the planet. But still, it is kind of creepy to think, though. 5 billion years. Although that's a ways off from now, so we might be okay. I love this stuff. I didn't take astronomy courses. I should have. I love my dinosaurs and my stars. I love science. I've always loved science. I know we did sort of get on a tangent here, but we do that sometimes. We do that. Anyway. Mars had water the first 200 million years and estimated to not have water for a couple billion after that. That's interesting. Favorite dino fact? God, I don't know if I don't even know if I know enough about dino. We need Robert with us today. I don't know if he's here to give us who's our literal dinosaur hunter. God, I don't know if I thank you, Daniel. Actually, I will say this. I'd asked a paleontologist once who didn't understand my question, and I was kind of disappointed because it made me think they're not as sort of intellectually curious as they should be. Thank you, Daniel. But I asked a paleontologist once in a public chat, and I said, if dinosaurs were alive today, forget birds, but because birds are dinosaurs, but other dinosaurs, if the dinosaurs didn't die, how intelligent would they be today after 300 million years? Well, 60 million years, 66 since they got wiped out. Said, how intelligent would they be? And basically try to extrapolate from intelligence of humanoids, or not humanoids, but well, I guess whatever we call ourselves. What do we call ourselves? Not humanoids, but we're talking about international stuff. Anthropological terms, right? I just thought it was and he was like, I don't know what that question means. And I was kind of like, hominids, thank you, humanoids. I know I was thinking hominid. Thanks, Ash. But I thought it was a great question. Hominoids, exactly. And he didn't like the question. And I was like, it's a brilliant question. Just to think of, like, how smart would dinosaurs be today if they didn't die off? Having said that, a lot of things do exist in the sea that were around back then, like sharks. And I don't know if the sharks are any smarter now than they would have been, So I do this for a living, Newton, which is why you should buy me gifts right now on TikTok and YouTube, or become a subscriber to support my work, because I do this for a living and nobody pays me but you all. So thank you. Anyway, astronomy in junior college, Nancy. Yep. Your Earth will only be likely to support life for another billion years. That's still pretty good, though. Thank you, Jane. Thank you, Mikey. Sharks are older than dinosaurs. I remember sharks being a couple 100 million years old. Excuse me. Alligators and crocodiles are not considered dinosaurs. No, I don't quite know the explanation for it, but they're not. No, only birds. And do I believe megalodons still exist? I mean, there's been no proof, but why not, I guess, to some degree, if they're really deep. But why wouldn't they have come up, above the thermal layer? You know what I mean? So I guess I don't believe they exist, but I guess I wouldn't be surprised something's down there that isn't coming up. Then again, sharks have to breathe. So a megalodon would have to come up to breathe, so we should have seen it by now, right? Right? Megalodons are like the super gigantic sharks from prehistoric times. Dinosaur times. Nessie, exactly. Many of the common dinosaurs never existed at the same time. Well, that's like we were talking about aliens from other planets. We would have to exist at a similar level of intelligence as people from other planets in order for us all to communicate, which is very unlikely in cosmic time being so big. Wait, did I just say sharks breathe? I didn't just say that, did I? I think I did, Glenn. You're right. I'm thinking whales. Glenn writes, you really think sharks breathe air? And I'm going, do I think that? Sorry, I was thinking whales. Yeah. Is it whales? I'm thinking dolphin. Whales do too, don't you? Dolphins do. Dolphins do. Do whales breathe as well? I'm forgetting now. Dolphins do. Whales too. That's what I thought. But sharks. I thought sharks. No, sharks don't need to breathe. But sharks need. You know what it is? Sharks need to move to breathe. That's what it is. I was forgetting. Sharks have to keep moving in the water or they die. Right. That's what I was thinking about. Yeah. Okay. Whales breathe at the surface. Right. Right. So sharks. Who knows? Maybe the megalodon could be underwater. Yeah. I'm tired. Sorry. I was having a brain fart about sharks. You can drown a humpback by not letting them come up. That's how orcas hunt them. Oh, interesting. Wow. That's sad. Many sharks do, not all. What? Breathe or what? Alexa, do any sharks breathe air?
According to another Amazon customer, no. Sharks breath by filtering oxygen from seawater.
Right. They filter the oxygen from the seawater. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Sorry. Somebody said some do, and I wasn't sure what they were referring to. But I remember that they have to keep moving or they can suffocate. La. Whales, dolphins, porpoises, orcas all breathe air. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. Yep. Whales and Whales by Orson Welles. Is that the name of his book? That's funny. Biologically, there's no such thing as fish. I'm not sure what that means. Sharks are famously bad at calculus. Okay, what does that come from, Colin? Is there a second part of that joke? It almost sounds like a Woody Allen kind of joke. I like it though. But what's that from? Or did you just say that on your own? Because it's pretty good, actually. It's a good one. It's a good one though. I like it. Actually, I have a friend who what's his name in New York, who created a website. Brilliant guy, internet activist, created a website of facts that are not true but sound true, and he just created a website of them. And they were the most brilliant thing. And I don't know if I can still Google it. I don't think I'd be able to find it now, but it was just the funniest damn thing. Facts that sound true. Well, there's a number of different websites now that talk about it. He had like the original website of it that was so good. See, the problem is now I don't trust other websites that are going to tell you what isn't true. I'm going to be like, Birds or dinosaurs. Yep. Thank you, Ann. I'm forgetting his name now too. The friend in New York. Totally forgetting. It'll come back to me. Oh my God. I'm forgetting his name. Brilliant. I think it's Matt. Matt. What is his name? I'm gonna have to send him a message and ask him if his site is still live. Come on, Matt. What's your name? Hold on. I'm gonna look him up. See, because if I have his name, at least maybe somebody will know him. Come on, Matt. Oops. Hello. Oops. Sorry. My address book on my Mac always goes slow. Thank you, Anne, for the gift. George Santos? No. Yes, George Santos, who I'm sure will be our next not attorney general, our next God knows what. It could have been. Nope, that's not him. I'm not finding his name here. Oh well, it's okay. It's just driving me crazy. See, now I want to know. Now I want to know his name. Matt. Come on, Matt. Oh, I'm not finding it now. Shoot. I'll have to find it. Anyway, he's Matt Damon. Yes, I wish it were Matt Damon. Have I done my family tree? Yes, we did the family tree. We have various family trees that I already put together on one big tree years ago on Ancestry. So yeah, we got the family tree up. Yeah, Saturday Night Live is going to have a field day this week. Yep. Yeah, we'll see if excuse me. We'll see. Saturday Night Live should be pretty good, which is our humor show with all the crazy shit Trump did this week. Anyway, the Parley Market stuff, I don't know enough about it. I mean, I know they got raided. I know there was some talk as to whether they let Americans be a part of it. That was illegal or something, but I don't know. I mean, typical right-wing bullshit. Biden did it because this is some betting market on the election that Robinhood, among others, was touting. And, they, of course, typical right-wing bullshit. They got raided by the FBI. And the reason is because they accurately predicted Trump was going to win the election and it's political. Honey, I got news for you. if Biden had the balls to sic the FBI after somebody simply because they accurately predicted Trump would win the election, Joe Biden, who's terrified of Vladimir Putin, you think is going to sic the FBI after you because you predicted the winner of the election? I mean, again, the biggest freaking snowflakes. So I saw that Polymarket thing, but I also was like, could they be bigger snowflakes? I saw the guy, it was because we predicted Trump would win. It's like, dude, you're not that important. You're really not. Nobody cares that you predicted Trump would win. Literally nobody cares. So yeah. No, I suspect, you never know, but I suspect they've got some bad shit, or the FBI wouldn't have raided him in his home unless they knew something bad, is my guess. But oh well. But yes, the FBI doesn't typically raid your home unless there's a good reason. Typically, not always, but typically. I have been to a European Christmas market. Yes, I went to really nice ones in Strasbourg, France years ago. Been to other ones, but I think the nicest one was in Strasbourg. Been to them in Berlin as well, but Strasbourg was still the nicest one. That is Baleen behind me, Kia, from Alaska. You are correct. Yep. I got that in Alaska 30 years ago when I was working for the senator from Alaska and going there a lot. Yes, indeed. Who do I think will run in 2028? Honestly, the usuals. Oh, you're from Alaska. Oh, nice. Are you down here now, as we say? Down here. Yeah, I went to Alaska probably 10 times. I loved it. Such a fascinating place. Beautiful. And you really feel like you're nowhere when you're there. You know what I mean? Like you so feel disconnected from everything else in a good way, though. It was very interesting. Yep. Anyway. Beep, 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 beep. Well, we're getting there on time here. We may close up soon. Is Mike Tyson going against Jake Paul? Is that true? God, that Jake Paul guy's a little weird. A little weird. What else? Well, the whole MAGA thing, the whole thing from Trump and the Republicans overall, there is a lot of projection. Yes. They're basically accusing Democrats of what they would do so that they just assume everybody would do it, Yes, Gary. If allies don't give intelligence because of Trump's decision, could that cause America more vulnerable to terrorist attacks? Yes, it could put our troops in danger. It could put us in danger. It could cause all sorts of problems because if we're not getting intelligence, raw intelligence helps you get a sense of what's going on in the world, what world leaders are doing, what our friends are, what our enemies are doing, right? What's coming next? If we don't get the information, we might not be ready for Russia invading Europe, for China invading Taiwan. I mean, it's very dangerous. Yeah. Well, Bryce, the Speaker of the House, they should have to pick a new speaker. Typically, they all get replaced, so to speak. There's the new Congress, and then each party gets together and picks their leader. I'm pretty sure, I don't quite know how it works in terms of whether they can agree not to pick a new leader and keep the same guy, or whether they still have to have an election. So like they can agree we're going to keep the same guy and then have an election just to confirm it. But I don't know. I don't know if they can just agree to keep the guy and not have an election. I don't know about that. I would be surprised if that was the case. So I think they may decide to keep the same speaker, but they may have an election anyway. Which is risky. So they will vote. That's what I thought. They're going to vote again, like the beginning of could be January 4th or something that early. Will we still come to the aid of Taiwan under Trump? Not if the Russians bribe him the right amount. I mean, very scary. Is it common for Congress to resign a seat before confirmed to a cabinet position? I don't know, Dawn. That's a good question. I don't think so. That doesn't make sense to me. Typically, I would think you actually look at everybody. Actually, look at everybody else. Marco Rubio, has he resigned? Has Rubio resigned yet? I don't really know. I think that's a bit early to resign. I don't think they should resign until they get appointed. But it's a good question, like about Rubio. Did Rubio resign yet? Right? I think Rubio gave a preliminary resignation, like for the future or something like that. I forgot. Yeah, I think you'd resign after getting the job would be the smart thing. Matt Gaetz resigned so that the House, he hoped, wouldn't be able to release the report on his sexual charges and drug charges and things like that, allegations. So, yeah. Correct. He resigned to stop the investigation. Right. Well, more specifically, he resigned to stop the report from being released tomorrow in a vote, but it may happen anyway. So we're going to find out, because they've done it before, apparently. Congress, the Ethics Committee has released their investigation. Thank you, Randy. Has released their investigation before. So yeah. Yeah, possibly rising. I saw that about North Korea's artillery, but I read the article on it and there was like a couple possibilities of what it could have been. So I kind of let it go for today because once I was getting into it, I was like, they're not quite sure where they're going and everything else. So, but some kind of huge artillery pieces from North Korea are in Russia now. So they're a little worried about whether they're heading for Ukraine. Correct. Any ethics remaining in Congress? Yeah, I think so. Yeah, some. Some. How do they let so many people that won't pass background checks get these positions? Because it's Donald Trump, the Republicans. Again, right? It's Donald Trump. You elect a convicted felon who stole classified information, who picked the worst people last time, and he's picking the worst people again, and he doesn't care that he's putting American national security at risk. What a surprise. Right? We've already lived through this for 4 years. I agree with you, but I'm not surprised. This is who he is. We knew exactly what we were getting. And people voted for him anyway. Oh, well. He's going to do a lot of damage this time, especially because now he controls Congress. It's going to be very, very bad. Very bad. So, non-MAGA Republicans left? Yes, but, right? They're still going to pretty much, they all caved to him. Susan Collins isn't MAGA, but she always expresses concern and then caves and votes with Trump. So, what do you do? Exactly. He's a monster. Yeah. All right, guys, I think I'm going to sign off. We're at an hour and a half now. So thank you all for joining us. We will go. I'll be back tomorrow night, 6:00 Eastern time, US. Join us then. We'll talk again about the latest from Trump land and the latest from Ukraine. And then Saturday morning, remember, we've got our Saturday show. Yeah, Paula, send me a message. We've got our Saturday show on for subscribers only. So it's TikTok subscribers on TikTok, YouTube on YouTube, Discord will be Kofi and everybody else. Twitch on Discord, it'll be 11 a.m. Saturday morning. So join us then just for you guys who are paid subscribers. That's all the SNN people on TikTok, the green named people on YouTube. And don't forget to go check out Discord for our auctions. Like I said, the auctions end on Monday. We got a lot of cool stuff. I'm doing new cool stuff again. Frank 907 is asking for a subscription if anybody can help him out on TikTok. Otherwise, Frank, try again tomorrow. Usually people are pretty generous. I don't know if it's late in the show. It might be a little late in the show to get one, but sometimes people are very, very, people are usually very generous about that. So, and basically you get one for a month. It's 1 month. It's not longer than that, but still, if multiple people give it to you, it could be longer. But otherwise, try again tomorrow if you're around. Otherwise, if anybody wants to do it really quick before I go, because as soon as I hang up, I think it's going to be spoke up against discrimination in an orchestra today. Well, that's good. It's important wherever you do it. That's very good. Thank you, Simply. All right, guys. Hey, Sarah. Glad you are a new subscriber. Join us on Sunday. All right, good night, Diana. All right, guys. Thanks for joining us. I will see you all tomorrow. And then remember, Saturday morning show. And then go to Discord and check out our auctions as well. All right. Oh, there you go. Frank got his subscription. Thanks, Dawn. There you go. Frank, Dawn got you. So thank you. We'll see you Saturday morning then, Frank. Thanks, Dawn. All right, guys. Have a good night. Now that we got Frank covered, we can go. All right. Have a good night, everybody. Thank you. And you all.